this is a bit of a test, because I like to take walks, basically every day normally, and in that I like to talk a lot. I wonder if I can record those thoughts and maybe turn them into videos. I have no idea how this is going to sound, by the way. It might sound good, it might sound terrible, because I'm recording this on my phone and I have no idea how well that sounds. So, I wanted to talk a bit about basically my biggest disappointment with tennocon, or tennocon Live. I wasn't there. It didn't really fit into my schedule, and two, I'm not really a social person. I mean, I kind of want to go to something like this, but yeah, no, I just wasn't there. It just was not really an option and all that kind of stuff. Plus, it's basically, well, it's halfway across the globe. It's pretty bloody far away. But yeah, there was a lot of amazing stuff. There was also something that, well, it was disappointing. And that is the new frames. The two next frames, they look incredibly disappointing to me. One, I don't know what they call him now at the moment. He was called Vlad. We already saw him on a dev stream. The vampire frame, which runs mostly on very old vampire lore, I think. I think he's a huge disappointment, just not as much because the frame is bad, because he might be good. He seems to be also stealing nyxs' job, which is just annoying to somebody who really loves nyxs, but okay, he looks possibly fine. My problem with it is vampire frame. It doesn't have any of the stuff that I like about vampires. With vampires, I like to think monsters hidden in high society, just hidden in plain sight, who will suck their victims dry of blood, which is probably all very symbolic of stuff in the time that it was written at and all that kind of stuff. But I just like the idea of the monster itself, just a terrible monster hidden in society. Not a hidden society, just hidden in society. It's something I love. And just who have their own plans. I don't know what I have this from. I don't even know if I have it from anything or if it's just an amalgamation of all types of vampire type thingies in many different stories, but I just like them as not exactly opposition to possibly the main character, but more just they are there. They do not work with you, but they also don't work against you. Just, I don't know, they're this presence or something, I don't know. But yeah, just the monster hidden in society. The gentleman with a lot of social power, but who can also just turn into a blood-sucking monster. Or, well, not so much turn into, but is a blood-sucking monster as well. Not a werewolf who can turn into a monster, but just who is himself a monster. And Vlad doesn't capture any of that. That's not so much a negative on Vlad, but more a case of, if this is the vampire frame, then, well, we won't get any type of blood-sucking monster. Who, I mean, in Warframe I already had some ideas that I thought were pretty cool for a vampire frame. Like, you use your own health bar to cast powers. Not so much like, what's his name, Inaros? Yeah, Inaros, who uses his health for his 4, but just all your powers draw on your health. You don't have energy. But you aren't incredibly tanky. You have shields. You rely on your shields basically to survive, and then your health to cast your powers with. And then those powers also have the ability to grant you health back. Just stuff like that. I thought that sounded pretty cool. But no, we got Vlad, who just spreads his sickness, which will be great in high level, in low level, just whatever you infect will already be killed by your teammates before it gets to do anything. So yeah, Vlad, I was mainly disappointed in that he became the vampire frame. That was his inspiration, so that was kind of already taken. And then there was the next frame, codename Garuda, I think. I might have to look that up as well, but yeah, that's what I think she was called. And look at her. 1, she looks amazing. 2, the first thing when I saw her, the first thing I thought of was bat. I mean, just look at those huge spikes basically coming out from her hands. Which I think they are full. You know what they look like, or at least to me? They look like the fingers of a bat when their wings are folded up. Of course, then normally they have their paws kind of forward, in which case the fingers will be pointing backwards. But in this case, when the arm is pointing down, the fingers will be pointing up. I thought, holy shit, batframe. And with that I also thought that maybe this will be blood-sucking frame or something like that. Just vampire bat frame. Because here's another funny thing. Garuda, or whatever she was called, that's also the name of an Indonesian flight company. Okay, so we also have flight. Which would once again translate pretty well into bat frame, because, well, bats fly, that's what they do. So, we have this design that looks, to me at least, the arms look extremely bat-like. We have, I mean, she kind of looks elegant, which would fit within the just hidden monster within society, which I also thought was cool. And we have a name that refers to, or at least that shares a name with an Indonesian flight company. And here's another thing, which also helped. I once had a trip to Indonesia. It was not a great experience, but I won't be going into that in this video. But one of the things I do really remember was that in the evening, just fruit bats would fly over the pool in the park we were staying at just a couple days. 1, that was really cool. 2, once again, bats. Now of course it does help that I really bloody love bats. And as pattern-seeking animal, I will probably try to see bat in a lot of things. Because, well, that's how humans work. Well, most people don't see bat in a lot of things, but you see things you like in other things. I like bats, so I see bats in things. And then, in tennocon Live, she was presented as gore frame. Gore, really? Really, gore? Just, I mean, I guess there's nothing wrong with it, but gore, really? It doesn't feel like a concept that you can really go very far with. Now, it's possible that it is still basically kind of batframe, because, I don't know, somewhere people also said that she was, I don't know, ferocious or blood-sucking or some other stuff was also said. Apparently at the, God, what's it? The art panel, a bit more was said about her, I think, which seemed to fit better with batframe, or other vampire frame. So, it's not that per se, but just gore feels very... It doesn't sound good to me. It doesn't give me a lot of hope. Of course, that doesn't mean that it won't be good, because, well, the footage you'll probably maybe see at the moment is probably of me playing with Cora. Cora I did also not like the sound of, because, oh, she is this one that basically has another cat that she can control. And then she has her whip and stuff. Sounded really bad to me, turned out to be one of my favorite frames. And once again, I'm not saying that even if it's just gore frame, not bad frame in any way, that doesn't mean she will be bad. It just means that it's... well, she looks like bad frame, and it's just... I love bats. I would really love a bat frame, and that this would not be bat frame is then just kind of disappointing to me. And I understand that bat frame could kind of be seen as overlapping with Zephyr, which is bird frame, but I think there are enough ways you can differentiate the two. Because, you know, Zephyr airframe more like. Just, she controls wind, she sends wind at you, she uses the wind to fly. She makes tornadoes, she uses wind to direct bullets around her. Zephyr is very wind. Bats could be more, I don't know, hunter, eating. I don't know, maybe could do something with their echolocation. By the way, they don't have bad eyes. They also have great eyes, but they also have echolocation. Maybe you could do something with, I don't know, supernatural senses, or, I don't know, there's probably plenty of stuff you can do. Night, hunt, I don't know, vampire bats are of course also a thing. I mean, they're not as horrific as they sound, they're basically overgrown mosquitoes that feast on livestock, but still vampire bats. Oh, and if you want a really bloody cool bat, there are bats that hunt scorpions. You know, the poisonous stingy types. Oh, and they don't die to it as well. Just bats hunting scorpions. That's fucking metal. So yeah, that was my biggest and mostly only problem with tennocon this year. Just, I don't like the frames, or at least, it's not so much that I don't like the frames that are coming up, it's just that I don't like how they miss what I would have really liked. Just vampire frame that doesn't have any of the type of stuff that I really love in vampires. That's just a personal, I don't like this type of thing. I like a particular type of vampire. Rebecca likes another type of vampire. And, well, she works at DE, so it's her type of vampire that it becomes. Which is fine, it probably works way better because, hey, she's an actual game designer. And I don't know if she's a game designer, I mean, she's a community manager, but she's also a lot more, and I don't know exactly what she is good at and what she's educated and everything. Her ideas are 99% sure way better than mine. That 1% is just that they are regular better instead of way better. It's just that I would kind of like to see a vampire, like I would like to see a vampire. And the other is just, oh god, it looks like a bat. It's a gore frame, but it looks like a bat. Why is it not a bat frame? I would have just liked to see bat frame. And instead we get gore frame. And that's why this isn't called the bad part of tennocon. It's just the disappointing part, because it was disappointing to me. It's not bad in any way, it's just not what I would have liked to see. So yeah, this has been the Nyxs, saying farewell.